Oh, it was seafood last night. The Grey Eagle Buffet. Tonight, it is prime rib night. Look at that cowboy. By the way, Danny Austin's with us here from Post Media, Calgary's Sun, and there is a litany of comments for you and questions, Danny, which I'll get to. But listen, I don't think they knew what was coming to town, that I'm the son of a cattle farmer / rancher. They're trying to tell me that 4A beef they were giving us in Calgary Stampede Park the other day. Have you ever heard of 4A beef?
I have not heard of it.
No, it doesn't exist. I've talked to all these cattle ranchers. They're like, no, 3A is the best. It's a gimmick. They're trying to hoodwink you there. Don't fall for it. But we'll see tonight, because I know it is Alberta beef on the buffet here tonight at the Grey Eagle. Come on down, everybody. Okay. Before I get to their questions, Danny, mine. Fajardo is facing, I just say, an avalanche of criticism from the Rider Nation. I've sensed it for almost a year now that they're turning on him. I don't like it. I'm a Cody guy. I love him personally and professionally. Am I missing something? And what are you seeing from one province over? Are you seeing it like I'm seeing it?
So it's interesting. I first of all, before anything else, I would preach patience with Cody Fajardo. I think he is a good quarterback. I would suggest, if I was Cody Fajardo, part of what we love about him is how open he is with the media, with the public. I think you put a target on your back. We say things like, oh, I'm only a second starter. I think that obviously he made a mistake and misspoke after the first loss to the Stampeders, where he sort of said he needed his receivers to come down with those 50-50 balls or what have you. I still think Cody Fajardo was a good quarterback. I honestly don't know what is better that is out there right now. I don't know that Trevor Harris is a huge improvement. I have nothing but good things to say about Trevor Harris as a person, but ultimately when he came out west and got into the sort of the fight that is the West Division, I don't think he showed us that he was necessarily an elite quarterback. So my thing with the Riders, when you're the Calgary reporter, you never say anything too nice about Saskatchewan. I think we forget how many guys tore their Achilles tendons right before the season, important players. That team had horrible injury issues, and they wound up beating the Calgary Stampeders twice, and that Stampeders team was good at the end of the season and really pushing the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Now, would a slightly better quarterback, have potentially gotten them over the Bombers? I don't know. But I really think that the Riders overachieved in their injury situation last. So I think that if I was a Riders fan, I would be feeling very, very positive, not only about the future, but next season in particular. And I don't mind, as a football fan, having a quarterback who feels like he's got something to prove. And I think Cody Fajardo is definitely going to be feeling that way.
9-4 record, third in CFL passing, hosted a playoff game again. Not every quarterback in the league could say that, but they're turning on him not for his play. It's, as you think, what he said in the media, and amazing to me. Here's a little bit of a segue. Jordan Meadso is watching the Greek Freak from the Four Seasons Sports Palace, and he says, Roddy, do you think Jen, his top bartender, would get mad if we put Oiler onion rings on special after they don't score any goals? He's talking about the Oilers being shut out last night. Here's my reach of a segue, Danny. Cody's interviewed in the heat of the moment, and he said some things that he obviously regrets because he backtracked on them. Mm-hmm. How about Leon Draisaitl this week and Jim Matheson? Everybody in Calgary, they're still cackling about it down here. It's unbelievable. It's great. I love that stuff. As do you.
Of course.
Of course. What was your take on Pissygate, man?
I mean, I would not use the word pissy. This is, you know what, rather than going into the specifics, I'm going to say this. One of the things that I love about being a CFL reporter, and I have covered the Calgary Flames full seasons. I've done a lot of it. I don't understand the hockey culture of just sitting there and saying absolutely nothing and sort of being rude. Ultimately, I look at the way the NBA has grown. I look at the NFL. Those guys don't feel the need to say absolutely nothing. They don't know what it is in hockey culture that makes that be what hockey players do. I like Leon Draisaitl. I don't understand why you don't just give some sort of answer to the question. Be polite. Give the fans some sort of explanation. You're a superstar. You're supposed to carry that team. And look, I wouldn't use the word pissy with a player. That just wouldn't happen. But I think that there's a little bit of blame to go around. And I honestly, thank God I cover the CFL, where athletes are a whole lot more forthcoming and don't seem to hate me just for trying to do my job.
And the coach too, not the players, right? And I know it's tough for you because you are full on in that newspaper brethren, of which Jim Matheson's in. But you and I are emotional, heart on the sleeve guys. That's why we eventually got along. Mm-hmm. And you and I have never called anybody pissy. We've never got personal with anybody. Right?
It's also a weird thing. I mean, look, like choice of word, I think we can criticize. I don't have any issue with a reporter asking a player, like, what's wrong? Like, what is going on here? Why are you being this way? So, I mean, we can nitpick over the language, but ultimately, like, I hate to say that's my tribe, and I'm going to sort of stand up for Jim here a little bit.
I figured you would.
Yeah, and he's also obviously a coworker. Like that one word is I get it, and I'm sure Jim would not use that word again. But also, look, I don't think that it's all that difficult to get up. Your team's losing. You're paid what, $11 million a year. I don't think it's too much to expect for you to have legitimate, forthcoming answers to the media asking you questions. And yeah, newspaper, our job is different. Do not forget that my job is not supposed to be to go on Zoom and give content that the team tweets out, to give video. That is not. I'm supposed to be getting stories that answer the questions that I have that go in the newspaper and go online. So it is, people are potentially forgetting that a little bit, but I mean, look, I understand the criticism both ways.
Jason in Red Deer watching says, in all fairness, Danny, Leon did answer. He said everything needs to change, and he's right. James in Manitoba says, I think BC and Edmonton still need to have their personnel fixed. I think that's what he said. Casey Jones watching on YouTube says, Cody is like the new Kevin Glenn. Good, decent, but gets rattled easily and falls apart. Sounds like a taco time taco. On the Elks discussion there, the guy mentioned personnel. How do you feel about Chris Jones back in this significant of a role in Alberta? What do you think that'll do for the CFL's Battle of Alberta?
I think it's good. I mean, I think that we need to remember that when Chris Jones arrived in Saskatchewan that first year, he wasn't trying to go for a Grey Cup in year one, right? I mean, it was building. So I do not expect the Elks to be particularly competitive this season. I think that's just too big an ask, especially when you have the brains that you've got in Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, and Calgary. Like Chris Jones is ultimately, I really wanted to see a guy like Mark Killam, who I think has put in the work and I think would be a terrific coach and players love from around the league. I would have loved to have seen Mark Killam get that opportunity, but ultimately, yeah, you're going for a major fix. Chris Jones was probably not only the best option, I think he could be the only option. I mean, he's capable of doing those jobs and has proven it. So I hope Chris Jones is here, and I hope he's here for a long time, and I hope that ultimately the Edmonton Elks become competitive again and are, I don't want to say a dynasty, but I want to say they're competitive year in, year out, because there's nothing better in the CFL when you have all four teams, and we'll include the Lions, all five teams in the West, just feeling like they want to absolutely annihilate each other and that they're capable of it every week. That's an amazing symmetry when it happens.
Honestly, it's a miracle to me in a lot of ways that the CFL has survived COVID, because this seems like the biggest crisis of all time to face this league, and yet they act like there's no problems. I mean, the crowds in Edmonton, we saw them under 10,000, blah, blah, blah. But maybe Chris Jones can bring some people back, and it's going to take some winning, but he is a brand. He has a brand. Whether you like it or you don't, Chris Jones is a brand. And I just wonder in Calgary, because we're going to get some Stampeders personnel down here, it's been so smooth. There's no controversy. You mentioned Mark. I'm thinking of all the guys on that staff. Brent Munson, obviously Mark Mueller, known him since he was a child.
Pat Delmonico.
Delmonico. They're all great guys. No controversy. Have Stampeders fans been... Well, George Cortez said it to me. That what was his term? Something... They've had it easy. They don't even know it. Or do you know what I mean? Like, what's a word for that?
I mean, I
complacent, maybe?
Yeah, taking it for granted a little bit.
Yeah. Their excellence.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been doing just honestly for fun, just sort of looking back. I started in 2016, so I've been doing, those 5 seasons, the receiving, the top 5, tackles, top 5. I got to sacks, and you had Charleston Hughes was number 1. He had 60. I'm not going to know all the numbers off the top of my head, but I know 11. But then you had Jagarrett Davis, and Micah Johnson was 6, I believe. So 4 of the top 6 guys, and 3 of them had been on the team for 2016 and 2017. How good were those Stampeders teams that didn't win the Grey Cup in 2016 and 17? You had Alex Singleton. It's absolutely incredible. It's made my job, to be honest, very easy in most ways, because I don't have to weigh into the huge amount of controversy, any controversy that I'm involved in, I generally create myself. But it also, I mean, it's just really, really hard to criticize Huffnagel and Dickinson when they do it so well, right? I mean, who am I to criticize them? It's a weird thing. But yeah, the Stampeders, I mean, and I honestly think that losing Micah Johnson, Charleston Hughes, Jagarrett Davis, and them still coming up and having the guys like Mike Rose really, really step up. I mean, it shows you that these guys aren't just coaching the elite, they are building players up. And that's where Stampeders fans should have some confidence.
Glenn Erickson watching in Medicine Hat says, it seems the fan bases in Western Canadian NHL markets thrive on negativity. I suppose it beats indifference, but 24/7, 365 optics must give players fits at times. Fair, but when you're making millions, it does go hand in hand. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, no doubt Calgary fans have been spoiled. So that for Wayne in Victoria, BC says, the question mark for Edmonton is, will Jones stay more than a couple of years? I've got it at 3 max. How long do you think Chris Jones stays in Edmonton?
I mean, 3 years for a head coach is pretty average probably for this league. So I don't think, let's say 3 to 5. I think Chris Jones is aware enough of his reputation and it could probably use a little bit of fixing. And I think staying past winning a Grey Cup and honestly, I think that reputation is earned. I think that what happened to Saskatchewan, where he signed extension, and then a week later, after he promised that he wanted to be in Canada, he left. I mean, that type of thing is a little bit of a stain on your reputation. So, I think it would behoove, I never used that word before, Chris Jones to be here for a little while. And I think that is the best thing for the CFL. That Edmonton market, you said it, that under 10,000 day was not good. That's not okay. We can't have Edmonton of all places dropping down. So the CFL and Chris Jones to be there. Chris Jones probably needs to be there. I'd say 3 to 5 years.
It was in the fall, that game, and I remember watching it on the screen in the Brand Center in Regina with an agent. It was at a hockey game, and we looked at it, and I'm like, I've seen practices with more people at them than what's at that Edmonton game. So I think Chris Jones will definitely help with that. By the way, we are launching today Kinsman Telemiracle's 50/50 draw. It is back. We're officially announcing Telemiracle 46 online 50/50 has returned. It's another way to support Telemiracle and also have a chance to win half the jackpot. It's truly a win-win for Saskatchewan residents. Last year's raffle sold over $726,000 in tickets, and the winner took home half the pot. You can purchase your tickets now at telemiracle.com. You have to be physically in Saskatchewan to purchase yours. The draw date will be Wednesday, March the 2nd. Just before I do get your take on the NFL, we got a couple minutes left, these divisional games, just on the Calgary sports facility debate. That's the other thing a lot of since out here, and it's not kind of depressing. Danny, what's your take on it?
It is depressing. It's so hard. Look, ultimately, let's start with McMahon Stadium. I do not believe that we are getting McMahon Stadium replaced anytime soon. Let's just leave that there. I just don't think that there, from current ownership, is any appetite for putting money into that. And I therefore think we're going to be waiting for a long, long time, unless that sale, which you and I both believe could happen, goes down. It's so depressing what happened with the arena. I always believe that when you're getting hundreds of millions of dollars of public money, you're going to have to be responsible for some cost overruns, and that goes both ways. But I'm also, I think that when public money goes to an arena, that shouldn't be taken for granted. And I'm not saying that it was, but I hear some people say, oh, the city, how could they? I don't think that the public should have been should have been forced to pay all cost overruns, and I'm saying that's what's happened. I think it's a very complicated situation with a lot of money and a lot of big egos, and it's brutal to me that this has happened. And I look down at LA, where they've built a multi-billion-dollar stadium with no public money, and I just think, how are we here? This is the 4th biggest city in the country. We should have modern facilities, and figuring out how they're paid for is something that's well above my pay grade, but it's a shame, and it's a little embarrassing for Calgary and for Calgary sports fans and for everybody here.
World-class city deserves better than what we have, but people feel that there will be a new facility in our lifetime, and probably long before that. Just very quickly, NFL Division Playoff Weekend, I'm just going to ask you who you think your winners are be. Rapid fire. Bengals at Titans. Who win?
I'm going Bengals just because I love them.
Is that your team?
No, I mean, honestly, my team is basically the Bills. So when we get there, I'm going to go
getting
Bills.
there, yes.
I'm going to go Bills. But, I honestly just the scenes, the coach going into bars and giving out game balls to fans. How can you not root for that? Cincinnati, bit of a, hard luck city. Love that. So, give me the Bengals.
Okay, Saturday night, it is San Francisco at Green Bay. Who wins there?
Green Bay.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Favored by 6 at Bet Regal. Sunday, 1 p.m. Mountain. Rams at Bucks. That's my feature game. Who do you think wins that one?
I'm going to go Bucks. I ultimately just think the Bucks are, it's hard to bet against them. They win.
And why do you think the Bills will win at Kansas City, other than that you're a big Buffalo fan?
Josh friggin' Allen, man. Come on. I mean, what they did.
He's good.
What they did last week in New England was incredible. It's honestly one of the most impressive offensive performances, in my opinion, in football history. Josh Allen is brilliant. I love the way that this team, bounced back from that sort of, it was probably around Thanksgiving when it felt like maybe the wheels were coming off a little bit, and they dug in. I love the way they're using the running game. But ultimately, you have a quarterback who I think is just absolutely spectacular, and it feels like it's Buffalo's year to me. I'm taking them to go right to the Super Bowl.
Wow. NFL Division Playoff Weekend. Get 22 welcome dollars at betregal.ca, our exclusive betting partner. Use the pro code RP22 at regal.ca. Get betting this weekend. And we'll see you at Shark Club Deerfoot Meadows this Sunday at 1 p.m. We'll be hosting the RP Show Shark Club watch party for both games. Handing away prizes. We'll be on the microphone. It's going to be great. Danny, always appreciate the time. Thanks for coming down.
Man, anytime. Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.